In this video, we will review how to create a query. To create a multi-table query, click on Create, and then click Query Design. I use Design View. You may want to use the wizard. It's up to you. Then you want to display all of the tables that you need. You may need to add the join lines. If you don't already have relationships established in the relationships window, you'll have to draw those in manually here in the query design grid so that your results will be correct. For this one, we just need the album ID, title, artist, year, and genre. And to run it, you simply click Run up in the ribbon, and you can see that the query displays the results. I'm going to auto fit the columns, and then we need to save it. So that's simple enough. That's a multi-table select query. Now let's take a look at a few action queries. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close this one. And the first action query we're going to take a look at is an update query. You can see that we have 7 albums and none of them have a genre. And we don't want to enter that manually. We can let a query take care of that for us. So again, I'll go back to Create and then Query Design. This time I only need the album table. And it will be an update query, so I'm going to go ahead and change the type. And we want to update the genre. And all of these, like I said, this is a simple update because all of these are from the category rock. So I will go ahead and save my query. And then when I run it, it's going to update those 7 records for me. And then if we come back and look at it in Datasheet view, you can see that it took care of that. Next, we want to take a look at a make table query. So I'll go back to Query Design, and I'm going to use album and artist again. And this time we're going to make a table with the results, and we'll just call it demo, and then add the fields. Now when I run this query, it's going to make a new table, and then when I click yes, you can see the table that it created. And then if I want to save this one, just enter a name and then click OK. Now, let's go back to this album with artist select query that we created earlier. And we can enter a parameter if we wanted to, like if we only wanted to see albums from the year 2002. We can enter a parameter in the criteria line, such as enter a year, and this will prompt the person running the query to enter a year. Now, with it being a year, we know that we want them to key in a number. So what we can do, we can give this parameter a data type. If you copy the parameter and then click on Parameters up in the ribbon, you can use Control V to paste the parameter, and then you can choose a data type. Long integer would be the appropriate data type for this because that's the data type that we used for album year in the underlying table. So we'll click OK. And then if we run it and we enter text, it won't accept it. So now if we run it and enter a year, if there are any albums from that year, it will return them. So I'm just going to do a save as, and I'm going to do a save object as, and then I'll just call it a parameter query, and then click OK. Lastly, we need to take a look at crosstab queries, and there wasn't any decent data in this database for a crosstab, so I just created some student attendance data for us to use for that. And as you can see, this has nothing to do with the music database, but it will work for a crosstab query. To create a crosstab, I highly recommend using the wizard. And then you just choose crosstab, click OK, and then like I said, we'll be using the crosstab demo table, and we want our attendance to be our row headings, and then for column headings we will use the weeks, and then we want it to count the student name so that we get a count of the attendance. There will be present and absent, so we'll be able to see the numbers for that. And then click Finish, and here you can see the counts for attendance, the number present and the number absent, and then you have your totals here, and then you can just close it and save it. And then lastly, you need to know how to delete a query. That's very simple. You right click on it and click Delete.